as we've come to know, Beastars features a lot of and some and a whole lot of
you touch my tra-la-la. My ding-ding-dong.
But over the course of 180 plus chapters, we've gotten some interesting insights on the characters and various interspecies relationships. And in this video, I want to hypothesize what the babies would look like from the two primary couples in the series. That being Legoshi and Haru and Louis and Juno. To accomplish this feat, we will examine the two interspecies characters, Liano and Melon, to draw some clues as to what the prospective parents might expect from their new addition to the family. With that said, let's draw some parallels with Liano and Melon by providing some background knowledge. Now, as we know, Liano was born to a wolf mother and a Komodo dragon father. However, she primarily took after her mother in adolescence and young adulthood, only inheriting her father's immunity to his poison secretions. As she reached her middle-aged years, she began to grow scales, and we can presume that if she did not end her life prematurely, she would have fully transformed into a Komodo dragon. So, in Liano's instance, she is a female that took after her mother initially, but gradually transformed into what her father looked like over time. Melon, on the other hand, was born to a leopard mother and a gazelle father. In his instance, he took after his father in his childhood and adolescence, while slowly acquiring more leopard spots over time. Eventually, Melon underwent a drastic transformation prior to his Black Market Alley battle with Legoshi, in which he hardly resembled a gazelle at all. Based on this information, we can assume that the dominant physical traits in a child's life are gender-based, as Liano, a girl, took after her mother initially, while Melon, a boy, took after his father. So if Haru and Legoshi were to have a baby with one another, we would expect a girl to resemble Haru in adolescence, with a gradual transformation into a wolf into adulthood, while a boy would resemble Legoshi at first, and gradually take on rabbit characteristics as they matured into adulthood. The end result would be a small female wolf and a tall male rabbit. In Juno and Louis' scenario, their little girl would initially be a wolf, which would be interesting, because Louis might start feeling insecure about his own strength in the presence of his daughter, creating an unsteady dynamic at home. But if it were a boy, we would expect it to be a male deer. The end result, however, would be a medium-sized female deer and a tall male wolf. Of course, all of these assumptions are based on two interspecies examples, which is quite the small sample size, but it is interesting to ponder nonetheless. And it also does open up Pandora's Box. Because if you think about it, there was one crucial bit of information that I did not mention about Legoshi's lineage. He is not 100% wolf. He is in fact 1/4 Komodo dragon. So if him and Haru had a baby, there is a possibility that that baby could be born a Komodo dragon. And we also have to consider other possibilities as well. Like, for example, I know this sounds a little bit weird, but imagine if Liano was still alive and she had an interest in Melon, and they decided to,
Yes! 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 Oh! Oh! Oh!
do the hanky-panky and had a baby with one another. That baby would have 4 different species possibilities. And how would those species manifest in its physical appearance? And how would that change as that baby got older? And then we also have to consider this. That baby that has 4 different species, how does that manifest when it decides to have a baby with another animal? And let's assume that animal was like 2 or 3 or 4 different species itself. I mean, it's just crazy to think of all the different possibilities. And would that destroy barriers in terms of the animal society? If all these animals were intermixing with one another, would they all just say, you know what, we really can't determine what your species is. We just kind of have to assume we're all the same at this point. And this brings up the larger question. Is this what Paro Itagaki wants us to be considering? Because if you really think about it, humans have been intermixing with each other for thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. So really, the races that we denote are sort of artificial in a way. I mean, we see differences in colors and physical characteristics, but when you get down to it, we're like 99.7% similar to each other. So pointing out these small differences is sort of inconsequential. So very fascinating stuff. It makes you ponder a lot of different interesting possibilities about not only Beastars, but our own culture and society. But yeah, very fascinating stuff, guys. A lot to think about. Thanks for listening once again, and I'll catch you on the flip side.